Okay, so hello everyone. Today we are going to see the question and answer of the chapter I Want Something in a Cage, an Alien Handbook NCERT Class 7 in a detailed manner with every concepts and the detailed questions and their answers. So let's get started here. Okay, so here we are in comprehension check page number 38. Question number 1 is asking write true and false against each of the following statements. So students, you just have to write the only true and false. So the first question is Mr. Purcell sold birds, cats, dogs and monkeys. Is it true? So obviously, yes, it is true. Number 2, he was very concerned about the well-being of the birds and animals in his shop. No, it's not true. Because why? It's their job, है ना? And he was doing his job, so he is getting benefit from the birds. So he was not like concerned about feeding the birds. So it is false. Now let us see question number 3. He was impressed by the customer who bought the two doves. No, again it is a false statement. He was not impressed by the customer because the customer was not doing according to his will. Okay. Now let us move into the question number 4. He was a successful shop owner, though insensitive and cold as a person. Yes, it is definitely true. We all have seen the chapter, right? That the person was he was solding the birds and animals, and where he was kept them, he kept them in the prison. So anyway, the person who is insensitive can only do this. Okay, so here question number 2, it is saying why is Mr. Purcell compared to an owl? Okay students, so here Mr. Purcell is comparing with an owl. So why? So the answer is Mr. Purcell wore large glasses which magnified his eyes and gave him the appearance of a wise and genial owl. Okay student, so because his appearance was like of the owl, so people compared him with the owl. Okay, now question number 3, from the third paragraph pick out. Okay, so some words are here and you have to pick out that which words are resembling with these questions. Okay, so first question is words associated with cries of birds. So the word that is matching with it is cheeps, whispered and twitters. These are the sounds of the birds that bird makes when they want to communicate with each other. Okay. Question number 2, words associated with noise. Noise, the sound which we do not like, right? So the answer is rustling, squeaks, squeals. Okay. Now number 3, words suggestive of confusion and fear. So the words are frantic, frightened and blindly seeking. So students, these were the particular words which are resembling with the emotions that are written in these questions. So hence here this third question is also completed. So let's move forward. Okay, so here question number 4. Mr. Purcell heard it no more than he would have heard the monotonous ticking of a familiar clock. So students, it is in the first paragraph. Okay, so the first question is what does it refer? So the answer is it refers the chirping, squeaking and mewing of the birds and animals in the shop of the Mr. Purcell. Okay students, so the words that is he was hearing, ticking or familiar clock words, actually what? It was the sound of the birds and animals. They were chirping, squeaking and mewing. Okay, and students put a comma in between chirping and squeaking. Okay, now we are in the same question of question number 4, but the second question, it is saying why does Mr. Purcell not hear it clearly? So the answer is Mr. Purcell does not hear it clearly because he had it no more than he would have heard the monotonous ticking of a familiar clock and paid no attention to it as it was a daily routine. Okay students, so what is happening here? Yeah, Mr. Purcell is a shopkeeper, okay, and where he was solding the birds and animals that are kept in the cage. Okay, now it was his everyday routine that to sit and just listen to the squeaking and chirping and the moving voice of the animals and the birds. So he was doing his daily work. So when the other unfamiliar sound came, he didn't take it into its consideration, because why? It was in its daily routine to be busy with those sounds. Okay, students, done? Okay, so now we are in page number 42, question number 1. Do you think the atmosphere of Mr. Purcell's shop was cheerful or depressing? Give reason for your answer. So, students, the answer is the atmosphere of Mr. Purcell's shop was depressing because all these birds and animals were in cages, and no one can be happy when inside a cage. So, students, all of you got this, you know. So what happened that how much whatever you food you are feeding the animal or the bird, or how much love you are doing, but if you are keeping that animal or birds in the cage, spontaneously you will see that they are not happy. Just you need a heartfelt eyes to see that they are not happy in a cage. You consider yourself, no, like if you are in the cage, if people put you in the cage, then would you be happy? No, right? Similarly, the environment, the atmosphere in the Purcell was not cheerful. It was all the depressing. Okay, but also sometimes the birds and animals were making the noises of chirping, moving, and twittering. So this sound sometimes it feels cheerful, but ultimately it is depressing. Okay. So now we are in question number 2. Describe the stranger who came to the pet shop and what did he want. So students, here are two questions. The first question's answer is the stranger was unusual man who was wearing shiny shoes and cheap ill-fitted but a new suit. He had a shuttling glance and close cropped hair. So students, this was the just sharing the glance of that strange man, at how he was looking. He was like wearing a very shiny shoes and cheap fitted, with what? That the coat was not properly fitted. Okay, that's why it is using the word ill fitted. And his hair was very much small, very much cropped. Like, so it was like someone has cropped his hair. That type of appearance the stranger man was. Okay. So what did he want? So he wants something small in a cage with wings, because he had just the feeling of the imprisonment. No, so he wants something to set into the free. So he demanded that I want something small in a cage and with wings so that it can fly. Okay, students, chalo. Now we are in question number 3. 3 has also two questions. We will see them in separately. So question number 1 of 3. The man insisted on buying the doves because he was fond of birds. Do you agree? So here it is saying that the man was insisted of buying the birds. So is it true or false? So here students, I have written instead. So instead of that you will write insisted. Okay. So the answer is no, the man did not insist on buying doves just because he was fond of birds. Instead, he said that he wanted a creature with wings in a cage because he had sympathy for birds and wanted to see them flying. So, students, what is happening here? That the strange person, had just a taste of the imprisonment. So, he had the value of freedom. So, he did not wanted to see any creature to be inside the cage. So he was not just fond of the doves, or he loves the doves. He just wanted to see them fly in the sky, to experience them the freedom. So he insisted that he wants to buy the doves only. Okay, students. Okay, so now the second question of question number 3. How had he earned the $5 he had? So students, the answer is he had earned the $5 by 10 years of hard labor. So he was in the prison, the stranger was in the prison, and in prison also people get employment. That by doing some little or small works they can earn some money. So he spent his 10 years in the prison and he was doing some labor, hard labor, okay, not the small labor, hard labor. So with that hard labor he earned $5. So that $5 is what? It was like 50 cents a year. That in the 10 years becomes $5. Okay. So this is how he earned that money. Now we are in question number 4. Was the customer interested in care and feeding of the doves he had bought? If not, why not? So students, here the answer is No, the customer was not interested in the care and feeding of the doves he bought. Why? Second answer is he purchased them to set them free. Okay, students. So he purchased the doves just to set them free, just to see them flying in the sky, not because like he wanted to keep them in his house and take care of him. So he was not interested in listening to the how the doves get feed or what food we should provide the doves and all. Okay, he just purchased them to set them free. That's it. Okay. So students, now we are in the exercise question. Question number 1 is asking, why in your opinion did the man set the doves free? So obviously we all know the answer till now, right? So the answer is, the man set the doves free because he had got a better taste of imprisonment and the value of freedom. So he knows that in prison no one can be happy. So students, this is my opinion that why the man set the doves free. Okay, you must be agree with it, right? We all knows that no one can be free inside the cage. So we should also not keep pet and put that pet in the cage. Okay. Question number 2. Why did it make Mr. Purcell feel vaguely insulted? The Purcell was feeling the insulted. Okay, why? And the answer is, Mr. Purcell felt vaguely insulted because he had sold the doves at a reduced price. Number 1, that he has reduced the price and then sold. Second one is, the customer after purchasing them set them free one by one in front of Mr. Purcell. So this has hurt the Mr. Purcell. Why? Because Mr. Purcell, that he has just reduced the money and he has like solding that in his profit, but he saw that the stranger was just buying and just he set them all in free, and they set them, the stranger set them to fly in the sky. So this was, and also actually Mr. Purcell was, he was a little insensitive and a cold person, so he was not sensible that the birds and animals are not happy in the cages. So that's why he was also feeling the insulted. Okay, students. So dear students, we have completed the question and answers of this chapter in a very detailed and explained manner. I hope you all have enjoyed and understood it. If not, and if you have any queries or question, please feel free to write in the comment box. Okay, stay safe, be happy, and all the very best for your studies. Okay, students, bye bye.